Joining us now, we have Rob Longo and Randy Puff from the Veterans Ministry at LakePoint Community Church.
Yes, sir.
And you guys are doing some really great things out there. You have several events throughout the year, but you have one coming up in a couple of weeks, and that's what we're here to talk about. Extend an invitation to veterans looking for a fun time this July.
Well, first of all, we'd like to thank you for having us here and putting this on TV for everybody to see and for the community, and it is a community event. So we thank you for that.
Sure. Oh, we're always happy to help you spread the word.
Yeah.
So what's taking place at LakePoint Community Church this summer?
Well, our annual picnic, we're calling a Vet Fest now. It's been about 16 years since we've been doing this. And we're looking for a good turnout. We used to have it outdoors every time, but now a couple years ago we had it indoors because of the rain, and we thought that it seemed to work out. So this year we're planning to have a little bit of stuff outdoors, some tables and some basketball and some horseshoes for some guys to play, and there's going to be a car show, and if you have an old car, you're more than welcome to come and bring it and just showcase it. So,
and maybe bring your vet to the Vet Fest.
There you go.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. As long as it's a classic.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyone who attends, did you say it's free to attend for veterans and family members?
Yes, sir.
Free
Yes.
for veterans and their families to come out and have a good time, and just let us show you our appreciation for your service. And yeah, the more the merrier. We'd love to have you come and just join us and let us do what we do.
Now, I've seen your events around the holidays and last year's summer event. The food just looks tremendous. Talk about what goes into preparing the food for this event.
It's a large event, and we start months prior to the actual event, but getting the food together and the ladies cook it, or we're not doing that type of cooking anymore, where it's coming in from outside. But we used to have the ladies do all the baked goods, and some of that stuff is just, you hit the baked goods table first before you hit the hot dogs and hamburgers, because you want to make sure you got room for dessert. But
so you eat it first?
Yeah, save some room later. But it's just enjoyable. A lot goes into it. We have some guest speakers and stuff, and Pastor Bob and a friend of ours, Mitch Washer, was going to be playing some guitar and singing through that day. So it should
We also have another band there. I forget the name of it, but we have a band.
Yes, and they're good. They've been there with us for 3 years, and they're really good. Play some good music.
What can you say to LakePoint Community Church? I mean, for providing the space, the venue for all this. I know they've been doing it for a long time. Talk about that relationship that the Veterans Ministry has with LakePoint Community Church and having access to this location.
You know, it's a godsend, because our church and the church grounds, it's on a lake, and we've got 20-something acres there, and just God provided that for our church and our community, and the church has opened up its doors to us and accepted us as a ministry, and it's just part of the family, part of the community, and we're so thankful for Pastor Jesse, who's the head pastor there now, and it's more than overwhelming, the kindness and that they show us and show to the veterans, and the appreciation and the respect that they have for us, what the veterans have done through the years for our country and through the wars and all the way down to the Civil War.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
And for our independence and all that. So,
yeah, you know, I would imagine it's quite different what the reception that you get from the community compared to what you got, 40, 50 years ago coming home from Vietnam or the various wars. Talk about that. How were you greeted back then, and how have things changed since then?
I'm more affiliated with Vietnam War. I was actually too young to go, but I have many friends that went, and I've always wanted to go. But I think the veterans from Vietnam were treated wrong when they came home.
yeah.
Sorry, I get choked up.
Yeah,
It was difficult.
It was a hard way for them to go. I mean, people spit on them. People just said a lot of bad things, and I have the utmost respect for the people from Vietnam War.
Yeah. Especially considering that they didn't volunteer to go. Back then, it
No,
was a
they-
different time.
it was drafted.
Your number was called, you went.
Yeah.
And so you come back to that sort of reception, you're like, what did I do? I didn't choose to do this.
No.
So, I mean, now today, you know, people choose to join the military, and that's
Yeah.
an honorable profession. But talk about now, when you're out in public, people see you, maybe you're wearing something that tips them off that you're a veteran. What's the reception you get from the community today?
Lately, we've been getting good reception. I usually wear a hat or something that says veteran, and people notice that, and they give you respect. They, you know, thank you for your service. And also, when you're doing that, you're able to see another veteran in the shopping center, in a mall, or on the street, at a gas station, and you just go up to each other and we say, thank you for your service, welcome home, shake your hand. We have a chaplains thing that we do. Randy makes these crosses, disciple crosses, and we give them out to veterans when we see them on the street, and it's just welcoming home. I served during 1968 to 72. I was in the Air Force. I was an aircraft mechanic on cargo planes. I never went to Nam, but I call myself a veteran of the Vietnam War, not a Vietnam veteran, because it doesn't give those guys respect.
Yeah,
You
right,
know.
right.
In World War II, when guys came home, they had a ticket tape parade. They was, you know, they were so welcome, but people wanted to beat us up and call us baby killers. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of
right.
things going on back then.
Yeah.
So
So now there's picnics, there's celebrations.
Yeah, that's
we
great.
have the amazing Orion Veterans Memorial here in Lake Orion. Have
Yep.
you guys
yeah,
been?
yes,
Yep.
sir.
Yeah, it's one of the nicest, I think, in the country.
Lieutenant Colonel Cindy Wright had spoke there last year
Yeah, yeah,
at an event and told her story during 9/11,
yeah,
her being on the airplane with President Bush.
yeah.
So that was really compelling, and it's just quite a story. It touched our hearts about what was going on in our country, and she was in the midst of everything.
Yeah, and you know, it makes you realize there are people in this community that have stories that you just wouldn't be aware of. And I had met Cindy Wright multiple times before she spoke at the Patriot Day ceremony a few years ago.
Yeah.
And she's up there speaking, and I'm like, oh, I know her. And then she tells a story of how she was on Air Force One with the president during 9/11. And you realize that people in this community have these amazing stories to share.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
And that's why it's important, I think, to engage with someone. And there's still some World War II veterans around, but just the positive affirmation that we get now from being vets and just thanking us, because you know, all gave some, but some gave all. Some gave their lives to keep this country free,
Yeah.
and that's important. And respect, you know, that these guys went out, they left their homes, their families, their children, men and women, and most of them were boys. I mean, 19, 20 years old. They're all
Sure.
kids when we first signed up.
Yeah. Talk about why you think it's important to have these types of picnics and events. Like, it's one day, you get a nice meal, but what do you think it means to those who attend? Why do you continue to do this year after year?
Family. We're all family. The people that had served, it's kind of like being a family, even though we have different branches and we pick on each other, you know, just goofing around. But if you pick on one of us, then you picked on all of us.
Sure.
But it's important just to keep the love, the camaraderie, the respect, like having a family picnic. You know, you all get together once a year, but it should be sometimes more than that. Trying to get some special events together that people go, hey, let's just get together and have a barbecue, or go to the VFW for a chicken dinner on a Wednesday night, or something like, or the Legion Hall. And
Yeah.
I think it's important to keep this alive.
Yeah. And I would imagine that the memberships of the VFW and the American Legion, they're aging up. And are you out there trying to recruit the younger guys who have served to continue these types of things?
Yeah, we put out flyers and different invites for younger people to come in, because we're only going to be here so long. Somebody's got to pick it up and carry it on after us.
Yeah.
And you know, the younger people, that's who's going to do it. But, you know, sometimes it's a little rough getting them involved and getting them excited about what we do, because we do more than just do picnics, and, you know, we have other different groups that come out in veterans that have issues with getting their benefits or medical issues or something. We have people there that help them through that.
Yeah.
So it's more than just a picnic.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually use the expression, the usual suspects. You always have the same group of people who do the lion's share of the work, and eventually someone's going to have to step up and take those reins.
Yeah.
We would hope they would.
They would.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep it alive, keep it going. Like you said, we're all getting older, and we're trying to, bring the younger generation in. And even though it's war and it's still the same, but it's this type of generation from the previous wars, just recently, Afghanistan. And when they come home, there's a lot of mental anguish and a lot of PTSD, and they don't want to engage. They're still too young. They're still too fresh. I have a friend, Carlos, that served 10 years in the Army overseas, and comes home, and I could just kind of see in his demeanor and how he talks and his posture, and he's not right. He's not settled yet.
Yeah.
And I just, as a chaplain, come alongside of him, pray for him, and we're there to talk to him and just kind of talk him back down into civilization, like being, just a regular, normal citizen in America rather than being in the military.
Yeah.
A different world, a totally different world.
Yeah, I know for the longest time, people would say to me that veterans of like World War II or Vietnam, they didn't necessarily like to share their experiences with civilians. But later on, it seems like things have eased up a little bit, where it seems almost kind of cathartic for a veteran to be able to share those experiences. And that's why they have events at the Veterans Memorial, like coffee with vets and stuff like that, to get together. And if they feel like sharing, they know that they're in a safe space to do that. And maybe that's like a valve to help release some of that stuff.
Yeah, sometimes. Depends on what your experience was when you were in the military, right? There's some things, and sometimes that things happen in the war, and you grew up with your friend and you joined the military, and then all of a sudden you see he's dead right next to you. So, how can people say, well, why don't you get over it? It's been 50 years.
Yeah.
That's something you could never get over.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
right? Losing a loved one.
We've heard many stories like that. We go
Yeah.
to different places and like American House, so in different homes and stuff, and we get to listen to these stories that these guys tell us, all the way from World War I on
to
Vietnam and Korean War and Iraq, and we get to listen to these stories, and sometimes it's a little rough.
Yeah.
But you get them to open up and things start to change.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've seen some series like on HBO. Initially, they did Band of Brothers, which
awesome.
focused mostly in the European conflict. Later on, HBO did a series, I think Tom Hanks was involved, where they focused on the Pacific. Now, you hadn't heard a lot about the Pacific. Usually, they tend to romanticize like the European side of things. When I saw what went on in the Pacific, I'm like, oh my God, talk about the horrors of war.
Yes.
That opened my eyes. I learned all kinds of new things about what was happening in that part of the world during World War II.
And you don't hear much about that. A friend of mine, his dad was on a ship. Her dad was on a ship, and it got hit by a couple of torpedoes, and he was in the ocean for 30 some odd days, and he lived. But just to see what happened in that 30 days, I don't even want to talk about it.
That wasn't the Indianapolis, was it?
I don't remember which ship he was on, but he wrote a book, and I was able to read that, and it was pretty compelling. I don't usually read books, but I read that one. It was just amazing how God works sometimes, and there in the moment, and saves our lives and uses us for a different purpose later on in our life.
Sure.
Yeah,
I could only imagine the stories that are swapped when they get together at events like the Vet Fest, and I'm sure it's great for them to be able to be among their kind and share their experiences.
But on a brighter note, so this is going to be a fun time.
Yeah, oh, sure.
It's going to be enjoyable, and your family, if you're a veteran, bring your family. You're welcome with your children, and a lot of things are going on, and there'll be a lot of vendors there. So if you have issues and you haven't had a chance to talk to anybody, or if you have hearing issues or visual, there's people that will direct you to get help. You know, hospitalized. If you're hospitalized and you can't get out, but people will come to you.
Yeah.
All we have to do is know it, and then we'll come and get you.
Yeah. So we have Saturday, July 26th, begins
Yes, sir.
at 11 a.m.,
Yep.
runs to 2 p.m., and it sounds like it's going to be a great time had by all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If anyone wants to like donate or help raise money for this event, like how can they?
What do you think?
Well, if they want to donate or whatever, we have boxes there. We'll take donations. If you want to write a check, just make it out to the church for the Veterans Ministry, and they'll make sure that we get it, because it does take money to put these picnics and different events on. So we always do something to try to do fundraising or get people to donate, we sell these crosses there, we sell T-shirts, and we just, feel free to donate if you want.
Yeah.
If you plan on coming, just call the church, let them know so we know how much food to buy.
Yeah.
Call the church, and if you want to make a donation, call them directly, and they'll tell you how to do that, and you can send a check or stop by. And
Yeah. The church is the contact point, and the number we have here is 248-628-0038.
Yes.
So anyone who wants to reach out to the Veterans Ministry can do so through LakePoint Community Church.
Yes, sir.
So, great.
Yes.
Well, I hope we get butts in the seats, and it's
Yes,
going to have a
sir.
good time.
Thank you
we'll
so much.
have a good time.
Yeah.
Either way.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out.
Thank you,
guys.
sir. God bless
Thank
you
you
guys.
for having
us.
Yes,
Yeah.
we appreciate it.